from the state of Washington. My clan I take from my mother's side, we come from, our clan originally came from north of Tucson, Arizona. That's where we're located at. But when they tried to place us on our clan on the San Carlos Apache reservation, they chased them towards the mountains. And the ones that survived were very young and some of the very old. But there was no leaders that were with us. So that's why our clan is known as Hishpanaya. No leader. And from my father's side, I take on the Blackfeet and Flathead nations I am part of, but we're registered under the Confederacy of the Colville Reserve up in the state of Washington. The song I sang for you was a song that was composed by a person that they only knew through the time of war. They knew him by Geronimo. In our language, they call him Pueblo. And when you translate his name, it just means the one that yawns. That's what his name translates out to. Sometimes the young ones are named by their characteristics. Sometimes they're not named at birth. All three of my boys, they were named by their grandmother because she was there at the birth. And my oldest boy, he's called Not Afraid. They call him Not Afraid because of when she noticed when he would go out and he would run out and play. He would just run out there. He didn't have no worries in the world about any dangers, anything out there. He just went out there and had fun. So that's what she thought, seen in him, was that he wasn't afraid. So she called him Not Afraid. I have another boy, he's called Blonde Hair Man. And he's called Blonde Hair Man was because when he was young, he had very light complected hair, so that's what she called him, was Blonde Hair Man, and that's from one of his grandfathers. And then my youngest, he's called Thinking About It. And the reason why is because he didn't speak for a while. So she gave him also another one of his grandfather, his name, Thinking About It, because he didn't speak for a while too. So that's what she said. He's thinking of what he's going to say to us. So that's what she named him. The song that I sang for you was composed by Grande, and he was the one that composed this song from a dream. We say that we receive our visions in our dreams. There's a time when the night greets the day. There's a time when you receive dreams, kind of instructions on what to do in your life or how to do it, how to accomplish it. And this came to him was he was supposed to go to a certain area, and when he got to that area, he was going to be instructed on what to do, how to accomplish it. But when he got there, there was no one there. There was no one around. He called out. He said, "Where are you? You called for me." But no one answered. Instead of disregarding this dream, he composed a song. And the loose translation of the song is, "You called for me, but where were you?" This drum, if you notice, some of the materials is modern. Our original drums were made from the clay pots, but materials started to change. The first metal drums that they used was from the Dutch ovens, the kettles. Then later on, the stoneware cooking pots. I even have a little bit more evolved drum at home made out of a propane tank. The materials on the hide, sometimes I'll use blue jeans on here, and people will ask, "That's not a traditional item, how'd you get that item?" Now I'll tease them a little bit, and I'll tell them, "Well, this is the way my great-great-grandfather told me." He said, "A long time ago, those cowboys, they just left their pants laying all over the place." But actually, many nations, we all know how to use things instead of just throwing it away. You found another purpose for it. You found another use for it. And sometimes you did use different materials, but I always say that my ancestors were engineers of their own time. They found a way for their songs to survive. They found a way for their language to survive. They found a way for their ceremonies to survive. Besides this instrument, you've been hearing that flute most of the day. And they used the reed, the river cane, for one type of our arrow. And when they made this flute out of it, they named it out of two flutes. One whistle that they would use for the healing powers of it. And also, they would make arrow, one type of arrow out of this reed, where it had a wooden shaft that would fit into it, and that was the part that penetrated. And when they made this instrument out of that same material, they named it after those whistles. They named it katsul for the arrow, for that wind instrument. And with this instrument, they say it had a power to attract that female to you. It would capture her ear. They say that they would put symbols on here, many different designs, and it had a medicine to draw them to you. But if you notice on this instrument, there's no symbols on here at all. And I always like to tease and say that my wife scraped them all off. She don't allow me to attract no one no more. But I hope that you enjoy my style of Native American flute. Native American flute. First of all, I'd like to thank all the women out there for holding yourself back and not rushing me all at once. Yeah, thank you.
This next dance is horse dance, and I have had the opportunity to serve, and I continue to serve as artistic director for Native Trails dance program, actually starting in January 20th through April, most Thursdays and Saturdays at Scottsdale Center for the Arts outside in the lawn area. Eldred and myself and about 8 other people, we make up a cast showcasing the Southwest, and that's how this dance came into being. At Hopi, we have dances, and it's capturing again all of those who have taught us. And in the dances, there's a lot of history. And in the moment you be dancing, you could be also encouraging a healthy future. So again, all life around, the world, which often the gourds would be representing, the earth, a unique place where there's water or clouds. So using an instrument of this type is often related to moisture. And the people who live here in this desert area, Autumn people, they have the rattle and their bird songs. And what's unique in working with these various tribes is we both have in Hopi and down here a story of a time where the world or the earth floods. And in a unique way, the ant people take us below ground. When things are safe, Spider Woman brings us up to the surface. And so to acknowledge the assistance that the ants give in their rattles down here, they would harvest the rocks from anthills. For us, we harvest those little white rocks from other places. But in addition, you could put inside the foods, the seeds of wild foods, or maybe the foods you're cultivating. So when you're singing, and of course if there's no grocery store around, you're really going to be singing and encouraging all your plants to be healthy. Because again, as a human being, you're the consumer, and as the consumer, if your environment's healthy, you're going to be healthy. So again, they capture all this information of how to do this. And our arts and sciences and our communities, we were trading with one another. But our travels, especially over vast distance, it was with our own two legs. And we have stories of how we arrived to this world, you know. So the first ones to arrive here from Europe is the Spanish people. And there's a time that California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas was all part of what was Mexico. And after, in the late 1800s, the Americans had the American-Mexican War, Americans winning. These lands are purchased from Mexico. And there was a time that Mexico, a European concept of collecting taxes, they were coming and collecting textiles from us because they were looking for gold. They kind of stayed south. And agriculture is easier down that way as well. But the time these lands are purchased, gold is discovered over in California, and we kind of get skipped over for a while. So Arizona is 1912 officially becomes part of the Union. So officially Arizona is not even 100 years old yet. And again, this dance is a medley of music and movement. Since we don't have the same languages here with the 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona, music and movement, talking of the horse, because we all have that experience of the arrival of Spanish people. One of the things they also bring with them is the metal smithing. So you'll see a lot of the silver work used down here. So we got some pretty good bling happening in the Southwest nowadays. And the glass beads also from the East Coast with the European contact. The bells as well. Before we maybe used deer hooves, turtle shells, a variety of other instruments to help keep rhythm with the songs. So right now, celebrating the arrival of the horse dance.